muone bana ni kama tano kwa comrade. What?
Thank you so much for selecting AUSTEEN Visuals. We are glad you are watching the station that broadcasts to you stories about my journey. And today you are hosting one of the most prominent leaders of Meru University, that is Hannington Oguk. He served as the Samu Chair 2021-2022, and today he will be sharing with us his journey in leadership, both as a student and as a leader. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by saying, indeed there is a sense in which the preeminent father we preach never sleeps. A winner is a loser who has tried one more time. As the Holy Book stipulates, leaders are God chosen. And I agree without fear of contradiction that indeed God has chosen my team and I to work for his people. Meru University, fraternity, students being the major concerns.
General.
Yes.
Karibu sana AUSTEEN Visuals.
Thank you so much. Okay. To everyone watching me right now, let me begin by greeting you. How are you all? And I hope you're fine. This is Hannington Oguk, alias General Oguk of Meru University of Science and Technology, as the student president 2021 to 2023. Yes.
Interesting. Share with us your journey. How did you begin in politics? How did you start? From where? What want to know? How you started?
Okay. Here there are two things. There is politics and leadership. So my journey in leadership and politics didn't just begin when I stepped into campus. This is something that began way back when I was still a kid. Yeah, first of all, let me also bring to attention of the people where I come from. Yes, I come from Kisumu County. That is Seme constituency, Kitmikai sublocation. That's where I was born and brought up from. So that's where my leadership began. In the family, I'm not the firstborn, but I'm a thirdborn. But that's where the leadership began, whereby when I was young, I used to be in the forefront of everything, be it in the family issues, my playmates, the young Oguk and the young neighbors. Yes, so that's where it began, throughout the primary, of which I know as we continue with the interview, I'll give you a brief of how my primary life was, my high school, and when I came into campus, it is something that was predetermined when I was in high school, that you one day you have to lead in campus, and for sure, it is a dream come true. Yes, I had a dream. Actually, when I was in primary, I used to go against things. I was such a barrister, yes, and to a point, some of the teachers took me as someone who was tough-headed, but I was tough-headed and disciplined.
Primary school?
Yes, that's in primary school. In class 1. I think by then, those who were with me in that class, I was the guy who received many canings than any other student in that class. Why? Because anytime something went on wrong, I had to correct, whether you are the teacher or you are my classmate. And imagine if you are around 40 students in a class and you have to correct everyone. At the end of the day, you'll have to be on the wrong side. And that's where I could receive so many canes.
Who did your teachers speak with?
Okay, I remember one of the comments that one of my teacher, so to say, actually, she was a good teacher to me. One of the comments in my report card, by then we were using the report cards, was, this pupil is very cheeky. Actually, I was not cheeky, but I was on my right senses and I used to correct things. So they took me as a cheeky guy, yeah? Yes.
In my primary school, then would have been referred to as a bully.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so you began in primary school.
Yes.
That is class 1.
That was class 2.
From there,
Actually,
were you prefect in primary schools? You have prefect.
Yes.
We have other areas, yeah?
Yes.
Which position were you in?
To a point, I was not a leader in primary, but I was a leader on my own. From my end, I was a leader, and I was very sure of what I was doing. You remember in primary, at times, those who had the leadership of skills could not get the opportunity. Actually, in the primary school I attended first, it could not give me that opportunity to explore my leadership skill. In Swahili we call it utabaka. There was that term of utabaka la chini na la juu. Yes. so in that school, to a point, those who are maybe from the side of the head teacher, the children or the relatives, those are the people who could get the opportunity. Yes.
Why is it that not giving this opportunity? Is it because you are stubborn?
Oh, not because I was stubborn. Maybe from where I came from. Maybe if we talk of utabaka la chini na la juu, it means how background, where you come from. Maybe your village is considered such a minute village that cannot provide someone to stand in front of another village. Yes, because the school that I went to was not from my village. I came from a village called Kanyangin Bamgot in Seme constituency. So you find that village was being demeaned, such that even if you go to a primary school, you could not, you were seen like no one, yeah? Yes, but for me, myself, I knew very well I could lead the students to a point that even in a class I could give directions, but from the teacher's perspective, they saw it from the village.
In primary, you had the dream but you never got the chance.
Sure, I had the dream of leading, but getting the chance, you had to squeeze yourself. You had to prove.
Simply because of the tobacco?
Yes, simply because actually for many years I've tried to wonder why we were being diminished. But it was just the only thing that, the only reason is that tobacco la. For those who understand Kiswahili, you know what I mean.
I hope the teachers watching this show will give us a comment later.
Yes.
We're moving to high school. So tell us about high school.
Yeah, high school, actually even before we moved to high school, there is another interesting story. When I reached class 5. Class 5 again, I was that someone who could not accept anything bad going on in class. So I remember I came across a teacher, and I was not happy how this teacher was treating the pupils. She was someone who, she wanted to prove that she's, these teachers who want pupils to fear them. Yes? The fear of the unknown. So for me, I wanted to fear teacher only maybe if I'm wrong, but not just having fear whereby if you see a teacher you have to run. During our days, it used to happen whereby if you saw a teacher, you run away. But for me, that one was not on my side. So it reached a day, maybe, let me say that day I was wrong.
So how did you get the courage?
Okay, that courage.
Okay, how old were you by then?
By then I was around 7 years. Yes, 6, 7 years.
6, 7 years.
Yes.
And you're brave enough to write a teacher.
Yes, me I could even walk into the head teacher's office. If there was a problem and my class teacher is not listening, I could first report to the class rep, we used to call them the class prefects. I used to maybe tell them what is happening, but if they don't give a listening ear, I move ahead. Me, I used not to stop. Even up to now, if there is a leadership maybe stage ahead of me, I'll go and report. But if he or she doesn't give a feedback, I go past him or her. I go past that office. So that was what I used to do. So when I reached class 5, I remember. Okay, to a point I was wrong because this teacher found us when we were speaking mother tongue. That was Luo. But now the punishment was more than just speaking in mother tongue, because it was such a punishment that maybe to a point it left me with some permanent, let me not say disability, but some permanent scars. Yes. So when I reached in class 8, and again I was to meet this teacher in my class, I decided to readmit myself to another school.
So you left the school because of the punishment you were given?
I left the school because the teacher was inhuman. You remember by this age, I knew, even by you, right now if you do a mistake, you know what level of punishment should be given. But me, by just speaking in mother tongue.
Of course, speaking mother tongue is not allowed in...
I understand. Speaking mother tongue was not allowed. But remember, during my days, maybe if I studied maybe earlier enough, but during my days there were books, there were mother tongue books. I don't know whether you read the books in primary class 1, class 2. There were mother tongue books where people used to read. But I don't understand why again when I reached in class 5, the teacher had to give me that severe punishment. It was very severe.
So they teach mother tongue but don't speak mother
Yes, in class 1 and class 2 I read mother tongue books. And even the other day I was having a conversation with one of the vice chancellors in universities in Kenya. And the vice chancellor gave me out the arithmetic question paper, which was set in around 1985. The arithmetic was set in local languages. I have his class 5, grade 5 mathematics, which was set in mother tongue. So even for me, when I was in class 2, 1 and 2, I read the mother tongue. I read mother tongue book. But now in class 5, okay, I know it was a mistake speaking mother tongue, but now the punishment part was so severe. Yes, it was unbearable because it left me that day. Even I was just busy the whole day. My muscles were just.
So how did your parents took it? The punishment did you?
Now, when we began this interview, I told you about the utabaka la chini la juu. Let me tell you that thing was very, very sensitive, yeah? To a point that even if you are a parent from such a village and you go to a school maybe because your son or your daughter has been punished in a bad way, you could not be given a listening here. You could not be given a listening. There were super parents. Our parents were not super parents. They could not be listened to. So that's what now led me to now readmitting myself to another school. Actually, and it was in class 7 now because class 5 that thing happened, but I continue with the studies because that school was better. Yes, in performance it was good. But now, when I reached class 7, now again the teacher who punished me in class 5 was now going to be the class teacher of class 8. I said no. To myself. I went and told the parents, but I knew even if the parents could go to school, earlier they had gone, but nothing happened. So in class 7, I said, no, I'm going to admit myself in another school in class 8. Unfortunately, again, the bad men followed me. When I went there, I was to go to class 8. I remember with 318 marks. But in that school again, I was told, no, you cannot come here directly and join class 8. You have to go back to class 7 because the school you've come from, they are prone of cheating in exams.
On admitting yourself to different schools, fighting for own rights?
Yes, I used to fight for my own rights. Because to a point I saw that now this utabaka la chini la juu, now I'm stressing my parents. Because actually, in my home, dad is the breadwinner. So I saw maybe mom at home, I'm stressing him. That's where the leadership in me began from. I had to fight for my rights.
I can see you have a lot to say in primary. Let's go to the secondary bit of it.
So in secondary, I joined Form 1. Form 1, I tried my luck. I did not succeed in primary. In Form 1, I vied for head of environments. I did not succeed. Then later in the year, I was able to get the position of the class representative, whereby I served as the class representative from Form 1 to Form 4. Now in Form 3, I also vied. And now I vied for the position of the school president, not the high school president, but I never succeeded.
You also want to blame the...
No, there I don't want to blame anyone. There I don't want to blame anyone. There maybe my time for being in leadership was not that ripe.
How many courses do they
I can't remember well because it was back then in 2016. No, of course I was number 2. If I was not number 1, which number could I be? I was number 2. Yes.
I know the students are watching this video.
Yes, all the alumni of Lions High School, Kisumu, they know this very well, and I was a sure bet. If there were bets, then so many of them lost the bet because I lost that position. I was a sure bet of winning that elections. But anyway, what happened happened. But again, in high school, something again happened, which I did not like, and I had to stand firm. Whereby when a teacher, there was this teacher who used to, anytime she was on duty, the student leaders had to go and clean the toilets. I saw this in Form 1. Then I went and asked this. Yes, every time this madam was on duty, the student leaders had to go and wash the toilets.
So who expected to wash the toilets?
There were cleaning days. I remember it was on Wednesdays. So on these days, actually we had the cleaners of the school. But now on these days, we had the school cleaners. But now on these days, students could help them in cleaning the compound, washing the verandas, toilets. Now for me, there was a question, why? Yes, it's not bad to go and wash the toilets. Even me right now in this position, if I'm told, Oguk, go and show your leadership skills for the students that even you can do this. The other day even you saw one of the aspirants of the gubernatorial seat in Nairobi who went along and was cleaning the latrine. It's a way of showing your leadership, yes, that you can serve the people. But now in Form 1, when I saw this, I questioned the school president, who was by then in Form 4. But why is this happening? But the student president told me that's her culture. She's used to that, and we are used to it. But for me,
if the gubernatorial in Nairobi,
yes. What about me?
And so the teacher in high school, the madam of course, she decided to use the
Student leaders. Yes.
What's the difference? Do you think she was trying to show that even leaders can wash the latrines?
Mr. Felix, whatever we do as a leader, there should be a reason. I should not just walk from here, then go to Nchiru or Meru town or Nairobi, then begin cleaning the compound. That one maybe, unless I'm mad, you have to have some reasons why you are doing something. Yes? So for me, I thought it wise that this madam maybe could say as a way of showing your leadership. But from our side, it was, you have to do it. It was a must. So I saw this in first year, in Form 1, in Form 2, in Form 3. Now when I was in Form 4, a senior student in high school, that day I just got the news that you are going to clean the toilets. I waited till games time. Then I stood in front of other students, including by then the head prefect or the school president, and asked Madam, why are we doing this? Is it a way of showing our leadership, or is it a way of punishing us? Madam was very few. She didn't want to listen to any. But I told her, Madam, unless you tell her the reason why we are doing this, is when I'll pick up the bucket and go and clean the toilet. I'm loyal, I'll go and do it. There was no reason. We proceed. So from there, I walked to the principal's office and informed the principal what has been going on even before I joined that high school. Of course, the following week I was in a dilemma whether or not my tie was going, because by then I was a class rep, so I was a leader by then. I thought that my tie was to be taken, or maybe yes.
Oh, you had to put on the ties for leadership.
For the leadership, yes. Yeah. But because I was a leader and I knew God was with me, everything went on smoothly, and that way of mistreating the leaders stopped, unless if it is again there when I was away. But it stopped by then.
So you became the change.
Yes, I changed it. It was something which was wrong. You don't have to mistreat a leader. A leader is a mirror for the other student. The respect has to be there. And that's what I wanted, even if I was not the student president. But I made sure that I changed that. Yes.
So, after that, you succeed in a seat?
No, I did not succeed, but there were so many promises than even the votes I got. I got so many promises that, oh, Oguk, you just work hard. Once you will be in campus, you have to be the student president. And I was like, why are you promising me and you did not give me the votes? Yes, but I said, anyway, God forbid. If it is meant to be, it will be. And that's how from high school, I scored. Of course, you don't have to look into leadership alone. Academics is something very serious. Yes, and you have to balance the two. I balanced the two, and I emerged among the top students.
Did you participate in other activities like the games?
In high school, I participated in more than even 10 co-curriculum activities because, as I sit here, I have over 15 certificates, over 15 co-curriculum certificates, and amongst them is one of the certificates which was signed by former President, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. That was during the drama festival in this university in Western, Masinde Muliro. Yes, where I presented a French poem about peace in Kenya. Remember in 2017 when people were going for elections, that was when I was doing my end of the 8-4 system. That was the Form 4. And I wrote and presented a poem in French about peace be in Kenya. I emerged number 3 countrywide and signed by former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So that is one of my greatest achievements in high school among the over 15 certificates. Another one was for the Science Congress, where I presented a Science Congress on how to manufacture ethanol, or rather alcohol, from water hyacinth from Lake Victoria. Yes. So there again we emerged number 3. We're at regional level. So those are some of my best certificates that I have, amongst many others.
General, which grade did you score in high school? It seems you are very intelligent.
In high school, I scored high. I scored very high grades. So me, I was in all fields. Yes, both academics, games. Actually, I even dreamt of becoming a footballer. But now football was somehow taking me astray from academics, to a point that my class teacher had to come in.
I used to see you post much about taekwondo and...
Yes, that's now an...
Did you participate in such activities in high school?
In high school, I did not participate in martial arts. The martial arts now I joined in campus. Shotokan karate.
So, how did you manage to balance the 16 co-curriculum activities and the studies? Remember, it's such a very huge task. Academics, activities, leadership, and others. How did you manage?
Yeah, it was not easy. To be sincere, it was not easy. By the fact that also I was studying in a day school. Mm-hmm. Me never went to boarding school. Lions High School is a day school, situated around 300 meters from Kisumu CBD. So, and by then I used to stay with my brother in an estate called Nyalenda. If you know some of the bad streets in Kisumu.
Kisumu guys are watching this, eh?
After Kondela there is Nyalenda. Yes, that's where I came from. So it was not an easy task. I used to go home past 10 p.m. Because remember, during the day, the way I settled my mind was that I'm not going to school to read. Daytime from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is collecting notes. Whether I read or not, that is time for collecting notes and listening to the lecturer, to the teachers. Now, there is what I used to do between 7 a.m. and past 7 p.m. Past 7 p.m. were for assignments, because during the day you have listened to every sort of problems from students, from every teacher, the notes you've collected. So your mind is overloaded. The only thing I could do was doing the assignment for that day, up to around 10 p.m. From school to home was around 1 hour walk, or maybe you get a tuk-tuk. Now, by 11 p.m. was when I was at home. Staying with a brother to elder brother means everything I had to do, including washing the house, everything, all the house chores, I had to do. I had to do this up to maybe midnight. Before I went to sleep, I had to study something to around 30 minutes or 1 hour past midnight. So from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. was my sleeping hours.
So when did you complete high school?
I completed high school in 2017.
2017.
Yes.
When did you join campus?
Campus I joined in 2018. September. Yes.
So tell us about campus. How did you begin campus? No, now this where the story is in campus now. 2018, first year.
Yes.
First semester.
Yes.
Any urge for leadership? When did you get the urge for leadership?
The urge for leadership began way back. In fact, when I was coming to campus, that was number one priority over even what I was coming to study. Yes, because I wanted to prove that. Remember when I was in primary, there were bad things which were happening, but I could not get that opportunity. In high school, I tried my best, but again, I was promised. So there were the promises of the people who saw the leadership in me, and in primary, there was that me who knew I could make a good leader.
So you're coming to campus for leadership
and academics.
So the first priority was?
Of course, what takes you to campus?
Because maybe you should tell me.
What takes us to campus is academics.
Academics.
But besides academics, there are so many things. Now the immediate one was leadership. To prove that, is it because in me there were some characteristics of installed leadership, and to a point I could ask God, then why do I have all this? Why do I have to change people? Why do I have to correct people if I cannot get that opportunity? Why can't I just be any other person? These are the people who don't even care about what is happening within their environment.
So how did it begin?
So I joined campus, that is Meru University of Science and Technology. Yeah. And let me also bring to your attention that the course that I was to do, of which the one that I'm just graduating in, by then was only done in 2 universities, countrywide. Computer security and forensics was done in Meru University or in Jaramogi Odinga University. And of course, for me, it's one of the best courses. Yes. So, in leadership side, when I was in 1.2, year 1, semester 2, that's when I began now following the footsteps of some of the generals.
You are now familiarized with the school.
Yes. Actually, in 1.1, I looked for the generals of Meru University. The people. Remember when I joined was when one of the generals of Meru University had died, and may his soul rest in peace. So when I joined, that was when I began looking for history of how about the school, the running of the schools. What do you do for you to get into leadership? And that's where I came across some very great people in this Meru University. People like Bishop Ben Bairo. Those are very great generals of Meru University. People like Alan Sindan. Maybe some of them we've not come across each other, but I've read their history about Meru University. People like Balozi, people like Waziri, Nyaga, Ongori Baba.
What legacy do they have in Meru University?
Those were generals. Those were generals whereby anything comrades could not suffer in their presence, even though they were not leaders. they could air out the grievances and management could take control. Yes? Actually, the list is long, but I'll just mention a few. People like Captain Vini, people like Wangila Wabomba, people like Raphael, they know activists. Miguna, we used to call Maxwell Otieno, the former SG. And lastly, people like Busiri Richard, may his soul rest in peace. That's also another general whom I learned from his school when I was in 1.1. So when I came to 1.2, that's how I combined all those spirits, all those footsteps to give out General Oguk.
One general.
One general.
Interesting.
Yes. So first, actually, I wanted to vie for SG, in year one, Secretary General, but you have to calculate some moves. If I did not get the history from these people, then I could have gone for that post. But because I got from them how someone can get into leadership, that's where now I went for the men's rep, School of Computing, in year one. Semester 2.
Men's Rep School of Computing.
Men's Rep School of Computing.
Did you succeed to get the seat?
I did not succeed. Yes.
What happened?
Things happened. And one of the things was that the delegation system we are having right now is such a mess. And delegation system, to a point, it gives rise to two things. Number one, the delegation system enhances the tribalism in campus leadership. Number two, the delegation system does not give rise to good leaders. And if there is a leader who has gone through the delegation system and succeeded, then indeed, that is more than a leader. The delegation system did not allow me, because in my class, maybe the tribesmen, the delegation comes with the tribes. So whereby this community has to combine with this community. Now, if you are the minority, you don't get the opportunity, and that's how I lost.
So you lost
because my tribesmen were the minority.
How did you manage to change this in your leadership?
What I did was, after that, I did not vie when I was in second year, because I had again to calculate the moves for the final comeback. The comeback was now to come in third year. So I retracted. In second year, I supported a team, because I tried to fight against the tribalism thing, but it was not possible. Actually, from the people that I called out their name before, that was when the spirit of comradeship was. By then, there were not tribalism, because it was one man, one vote by then. Then again, even though the delegation system had begun, but the spirit of comradeship, if they saw that you are a leader, then they could give you. But right now in campuses, even as long as your tribesman makes the majority, then you will get it, whether or not you are a leader. So in year 2, I now did some calculations, some of them which are...
What was now your game plan?
First, I had to bring some communities which were considered minority to make part of the government with the majority, and split the majority into 2. So I brought the minority communities to form part of the government with the majority. Minority and the majority to form one government. Of course, there are only 7 seats in campuses, in campus leadership. So all communities cannot come together. Some had to go away, but the minority made part of the government with the majority. Then the following year, I knew very well, the following year, one of the majority had to fly away. And that was my plan game. And it happened like that. One of the majority ran away, and the minorities joined part with one of the majority communities, and that's where I came in. And actually, even before I came into leadership, to a point I was seen as someone who is bad, someone who is full of chaos. But that was not me. Maybe they were just seeing another part of someone I don't know.
How did you carry yourself in the university?
Me, I used to fight for rights of a student. Anytime a student could call out for help, and I don't know how it happened, but some of the students could not even approach the leaders by then, but they could come and inform me, Oguk, this is happening. And that's why I got the call now. How? Why can't you go and tell the current student leaders? Because they could come, Oguk, do this, go to the dean and tell dean this and this and this, go to the deputy vice chancellor. And I was like, even I don't know the office of the deputy vice chancellor. Yes, I'm vocal to the students. I can air out their grievances, but I don't have the powers. So by airing my views, that's where I got the attention of the management. Actually, let me bring to your attention that before I came into leadership, I visited the office of chief security twice. You know what it means by by visiting the office of the chief security. From there, the next step is normally the disciplinary.
Very major officers.
Yes. Anyone who visited office of the chief security, you have high possibilities of next going to the disciplinary. But from my side, I visited the office and I explained what I was agitating for, the rights of the students. And they were crystal clear that I had no bad intention of maybe taking students to the streets, how the allegations were going through.
Then, did you have a member from the family who had been a leader before? Because how did you manage to form TC Alliance? Remember, forming an alliance is not easy. You talk about the major tribes, the majority tribes, yeah? So, such a huge group.
To be sincere, none of my lineage is a politician. I'm named after two people, Hannington and Oguk. Hannington is my uncle, who had nothing to do with leadership. Oguk is my grandfather, who was a bishop of the Legion Maria. Yes, so he was a religious person, yeah? So he was a religious guy. So
they thought you would be a bishop just to be a freedom fighter.
Yes, I could have been a bishop. Of course, I understand the word of God. I understand it so well. But none of my family members had been into even a chief, none of even an NCA. So this is something that is inbuilt. Okay, maybe my dad was a class rep by then. Yes. He informed me that he was a class rep in class 4. By then he was also a games captain. Maybe the genetics, we have some relation. So I just had to elevate what used to be there in him. Yes. So about the TCA you've asked about. The TCA was the Comrades Alliance. That was the alliance that I used to get into power. Yes, the tribalism was there. As I said earlier, that this delegation system is one of the worst approach of getting leadership into campus. And actually, that is one of my dreams of getting into being a member of parliament, to ensure that I eradicate that. We go back to one man, one vote system.
After getting the position as the Samu chair, there was impeachment motion was tabled. So why was this motion tabled and who are behind it?
Yes, it's true. I got into leadership as the comrade sweetheart and also the comrades, the most preferred candidate. It reached a point where the impeachment motion was tabled. I could not understand why, but later on, I got to understand that, if there are no problems for you to fight as a leader, so that you be seen that this person can make a good leader, then you look for problems to make the problems and solve them. when I got into leadership, I tried as much as possible to bring peace to students and also respond to students' grievances. But now we understand, within my government, there were those who wanted to get into leadership, the following government. So there were no issues, there were no problem. Me, I got into leadership. The students came to know me. They came to know me because there were issues which I used to address. By then, the student leaders could not address them. So I addressed the issues through that. The students saw that Oguk can be a good leader. But now when I got into leadership, I tackled most of the issues, and there were no issues left. So the only way the young leaders could rise into power is by creating problems so that they can solve them. So and one of the problems was trying to impeach Oguk and accusing Oguk of making false accusations.
So how did you feel about this motion? Were you tormented physically, emotionally?
Actually, one of my worst moments in leadership was when the impeachment motion was tabled. Yes, it really tormented me. And maybe to a point, I asked God for strength, and God brought me problems to solve, and my prayers were answered. And one of the problems was going through the impeachment motion. I knew it was not going to go through, but now my picture to the students, somehow it was tainted. Yes, and I really felt so bad. But anyway, that is the way of leadership.
So how did you handle this?
It was tabled. The management came in. Meeting was called. They began collecting the signatures. But later on, some of the people who signed the signatures later on came and told me, Oguk, we did this under influence. And that's why I got that. To be sincere, it was not a genuine impeachment.
Under influence?
Under influence.
So who are behind the impeachment?
Some of them, maybe I cannot call them by names, but there are people who wanted to get into power. And besides that again, there were, in fact, it was attack from inside. We call it attack from inside the security. Yes? You are being attacked by those who are closer to you, those who know your weakness and strength.
Your own cabinet? My
own cabinet. Yes. Remember, everyone likes power, and by the time you are being impeached, if you are impeached, there is someone, before next election is done, there is always someone who wants that seat. And that's what I came to realize even with my council. Remember when I was vying, some of the people who are in my government wanted the position of the chair.
Okay.
But they were given another position. So when the impeachment motion was tabled, they were behind this, but behind the scene. Because they knew well after Oguk has been impeached, they could be elevated to the seat of the chairmanship. As they wait.
Let's start in the comment section. What did you enjoy most in the Samu government under Oguk's leadership? General, tell us, what are some of the challenges you faced in your leadership?
Actually, leadership is not as smooth as people think. Leadership is about sacrifice. That's number one. You really have to sacrifice. You sacrifice your time as a student leader. You sacrifice even your resources, of which for me, they are not challenges, but maybe to someone can be challenge, because the leadership was instilled in me. The great challenge I had was the betrayals. Yes, leadership is full of betrayals. You might do something thinking that is the best that you can do to someone. Maybe a colleague who is a leader, but at the same time, at some point, someone uses your weaknesses. So you know, when you are close to someone knows all your negatives and your positives.
So apart from your own cabinet betraying your own government, how did you find the students?
Actually, I had more time working with the students, more than some of the fellow leaders that I was with. Working with, because a student is real. Actually, a comrade is real.
a comrade will come up with a genuine problem. And maybe if something is not there and you inform, this one I'm not at a position to get it. Comrade will raise them.
So do you think the students were really satisfied with your leadership?
For me, I believe so. I believe so that the student was satisfied. To a point that even right now, some are feeling like if I were to continue the academics, I should even vie for the next leadership. Remember in 2020, I supported someone to get into leadership. By then, most students thought that I was the one who was vying for the position of the president.
So, is all this satisfaction the students who are suggesting that I should vie for presidency? So, is it coming from the people who voted for you, the major tribes, your supporters, or both sides?
It is from both sides. Why? Actually, I think I know since I got into campus, I'm one of the student leaders who was able to dilute the tribal things, the balkanization in tribes to ensure that we have one comradeship. Because look at my government. When I was elected, some of the positions which people thought that could go to the winner takes it all, I had to distribute it across the other communities who are not in government.
So, for example, you are Luo.
Yes.
You are supported with the Luo community, the Kikuyu, and other tribes.
Yes.
So, how did you manage to distribute the power, the Kikuyu?
And that's now where some thought that I betrayed them. And that's where I lost friends. Because by the time I was being supported, people supported me knowing that all the positions could go first to the Luo community or could go to the communities that supported me, those who gave me the delegates. But when I got there, I had to distribute, including the position of like the editor.
What about your opponent? Did you work together with the opponent?
Yes. The delegates that I worked with closer in fact, I worked with all the delegates closer. To a point that even the delegates who was for my impeachment was from my side, not even the side of the opponents. The one who was steering the impeachment of Oguk was from the camp of Oguk. If it could have been from the opposite, then we could have said maybe Oguk took the tribalism to the leadership. But that was one of the things that I wanted to fight against. Because remember, when I was in first year, it was tribalism that did not give me the chance to lead as a student leader. So when I got there, I treated everyone equally. Yes.
What's your legacy? What's your biggest achievement? Or what will you remember?
My greatest legacy, which I know students will remember with, is the act of approachable. There are so many legacies that I've left behind, what I've done to the student. But one of the main things was Oguk was approachable leader. Oguk could listen to your cases. Oguk could sacrifice what he has to give the students. Because that's what leadership is. Leadership is not about once you are elected, you be in the office, you don't go to the student center, you don't go to games, you don't talk to the students along the corridors, that you are purely official throughout. No, at times you have to make chance with the student. You have to even go to where they don't think that you can go to. Maybe if students are having some entertainment, you go there.
During the campaigns, maybe if you can watch that video, you mentioned that you had 1,000 manifestos to the students. Out of these 1,000 manifestos, how much did you able to achieve? I know maybe you don't have the easy to achieve all of them, but out of 1,000, how much did you manage to achieve?
Actually, my government achieved so many of what we told students we were going to achieve. And just to mention a few, and academics, because academics is what brought us here. And academics, before I got into leadership, there was low Wi-Fi access, or rather the speed. If you compare by then and also the coverage of Wi-Fi, right now at the student center, students are able to access Wi-Fi from the student center. The hostels. Let me tell you, when I joined in 2018, I was in Mount Kenya A.
you could only access Wi-Fi behind Hostel C and in MPH at night. But right now, if the student is at the student center, you can access. If you are in Mount Kenya, in Hostel B, Hostel A, you are able to access the Wi-Fi. Remember, why am I connecting the Wi-Fi and the academics? Nowadays, most learning going on through technology, online, the e-learning. So that was number one thing that I ensured. And even if you look at the speed of Wi-Fi in MPH right now, it's much higher than how it used to be. Number two was about the class rep appreciations. Remember the link between the students and the lecturer, getting the notes, getting the classes. Who coordinates that is not the student, it's not the Samu or the student leadership, but it's the class reps, who to a point most leaders have been ignoring. One of the things, or rather maybe some of the things I did to the class rep, number one was about the credits. It is this government of mine where I promised that the class reps will get credit. Over 300 class reps got credit. Each 300 shillings. They were around 320 something class reps. Each got 300 shillings credit. So it was just the beginning, and I believe that in the next government they'll have to do that.
Anything on sports?
Okay, maybe before sports there is also the trips. I took class reps to trips where they enjoyed, and besides the trips there were also leadership forums. I remember the last leadership forum I took them to Mount Kenya University, whereby I asked the management to give us the transport facilitation, where they could listen to very important speakers within the country.
So are these trips just for leaders, the class reps only, any trips for students? Of course, students are paying for trips.
Yes. Remember, class trips are normally academic trips, and the academic trips are normally arranged by two people, the class reps and the CODs. So on my side, through the duties bestowed on me by the Samu Constitution, is to look into how the class reps can be, their needs can be catered for and their wants can be achieved. And that's why I took them to this trip. It was not just by a trip, just a trip, but it was a leadership. Because for me, I felt that that is one of the ways of mentoring them. I should not be a leader who will think for himself, because I had the opportunity to just attend it as the president. But what could I have gained? I believe that more than 100 who attended that forum were able to listen to those great speakers, the orators, and they were able to get something.
Oguk, you fought for the amendment of the constitution, the Samu Constitution, and how did it end? Did you manage to change the constitution?
Okay, yes, that is one of the things that I fought for, because actually, remember, some of these things that I've said, I did them, but they were not in the Samu Constitution.
What are some of the things that you wanted to change in the constitution?
Some of the things that I wanted to change in the constitution, number one was we have the TVET students in our university. The TVET students who are taking this, the courses, they take around 2 years. When the constitution was being made by then, they were not TVET school, but right now we have them. The other time when I was vying, one of the aspirants was not given the opportunity to vie as a school rep. Why? Because the results were not there. Remember the TVET's results are not being marked within the school. There is a body called the SEDAC, which takes over around a year before they return the results. Now I wanted this constitution to be changed such a way that the students within the main campus, just as those in Marimba and town campus are given the opportunity, these ones also be given opportunity to vie despite whether or not the results are back. So that was number one. Number two was about the class rep credit. I brought it, though it was not there. What if the next government decide that no, this money we are going to do something? But these are leaders, the class reps are leaders. The third one was about the endowment kitty. What do I mean by endowment kitty? This is whereby, remember, Samu has kitty, whereby we have the bereavement kitty, where when you lost a student, there is always a certain amount that is being released from the Samu account to go and help the family in the arrangement of the burial. Now, I thought it wise we have the endowment kit. Endowment kit whereby through generous contribution from the students, from the management, even from the county government.
Was it about the 20 bob challenge that you...
Okay, the 20 bob challenge was to help one of us. I know I'll come to that story. Yes. So the endowment kit was majorly to help maybe in the near future students with such challenge, which I know I'll speak about later. You as a student, me as a student, when we receive help is normally at least 16,000 per semester. Can't we have that kit? Can we have that student leadership whereby even when I receive that 16,000, I can generously contribute 100 bob. Multiply 100 by 10,000 students per semester. How much is that? It's quite a lot of money. That's from students alone. Then we have the lecturers. Many times you realize we normally had lecturers to the contribution forums like the WhatsApp to help raise fee for students. What if we have now the WhatsApp part?
So how did the students start with it? And some of the comments from the signatures, about signatures.
Yes, collection of signatures.
Which teacher did you use to get the signatures?
Now let me again come to you.
Because you heard of intimidations that those who don't sign will not get service from the government.
Okay, first let me inform you that if you ever have time to go through the Samu constitution, it is such a shallow constitution, including the amendment. In fact, in the amendment of the constitution, there is not even one single line talking about collection of signatures. It is nowhere.
So you introduced this?
I introduced it so that before someone amends the constitution, you have to collect the information from the student. Because the constitution is talking about getting 65% of the total population of the student. How? Through what criteria? Is it by asking people through the academic corridors that do you say yes or no? It is nowhere. Either it's through collection of signatures, or through interviews, or through asking, or through having maybe the online voting, so that we get 65%. It is nowhere.
So did the students sign the constitution willingly, or were they forced?
No one forced the students. No one, to be sincere, no one forced the students. Those who signed are those who got the points that I just said. Actually, some were so much impressed about the endowment kit. Those people signed. But of course, there were politics. Remember, I just brought this when there were around, it was around 2 weeks to politics for the next election. So there were, to a point that actually I went to a class and someone standing up and asking me, Oguk, you are talking about students who are going through tough times. When I said in front of them that there are students who even spend hours in NPH throughout the night because they don't have places to go and sleep in. I have a classmate, and this one I'm saying, and I have an evidence, a classmate who used to sleep in the NPH, spending the whole night there in Wi-Fi, so that because he could not get the rent. So when I went to a class, and someone is bringing politics and telling me, Oguk, show us one of the students who is suffering, I just, so to a point I was disappointed with that question. But anyway, as a leader, you have to be ready for that. So, students sign for the amendment of the constitution, and from there, the process is continuing, because actually including how we were supposed to collect 5% is not there. The constitution is talking about, this constitution can be amended in 2 ways, but under that 2 ways, there are 7 ways of amending the constitution. So which are the 2 ways? The first 2 or the last 5? You choose on the first 2 in the last 5. So it is such a shallow thing that really need amendments. I'm still continuing the process. If it goes through before my term ends, well and good. It will help the next leadership in running of the Samu. But if it doesn't go through before, the next time we shall take over from where I shall left, then they will continue.
General, we know that we are vacating the seat and there's new government coming in next year elections. So Who is your preferred candidate?
Currently, talking about a preferred candidate might be preferred to Oguk, but not preferred candidate to the students.
In general, we know that there's a candidate vying for the chairmanship. He was serving in your government. So are you going to support this candidate or are you going to support?
As I said, a candidate might be a preferred candidate for the sitting government, but might not for the other students. I believe in the spirit of comradeship, and I believe whatever the students will want, whoever shall be given, I shall hand over power to. Remember, maybe I might have a preferred candidate or not, but whoever the students will choose that this is who we want, I shall hand over power to. It will be upon them to either regret later or either appreciate themselves.
So does it mean that the candidate who is now vying for the seat did not fulfill the requirements in your cabinet?
Not really, and that's why I'm trying to say that whoever the student. Remember, one of the candidates, you say one of them is from my cabinet currently, and then there are others who are not from my cabinet. I would wish to say that I'll support that candidate whose student will. In fact, if students say today, we thought you were to run for the next leadership, but this is who we want, I'll help them support that candidate. But I shall not be in the forefront, then tell students what to follow. Because remember, by next year, will not be here. What if I give them someone whom they don't like? Remember, they will be all over the social media. That book gave us someone that we don't want. So it's upon the students to look through, to compare the two. Yes, one of them was in my government. Look at the roots of this person. Then also look at the roots of the other guy. Me, by the time I was being voted, comrades voted me in after looking at my roots from 2018. What did Oguk do? What did he do to some of the governments that came before him? Was he opposing the governments on merits? Or was he opposing the governments on personal differences?
Emmanuel Wafula stand true to criticize about the money from Matanga scandals, that he said that the money contributed to help the student was not being used in the right way. What is your take on this? Was he did he do the right thing, or is it a sign of bravery?
Okay, maybe pardon?
Emmanuel Wafula, of course, Emmanuel Wafula, one of the stand bold to criticize the government about the money from Matanga, remember the scandal, that was being aired that the money was not being handled in the right way. So tell us about it.
For me, I'm very sure there is no contribution that were done and they got lost. Actually, if you talk about the burial, right now the last burial that the student contributed was for one of us who died last year, end of last year. The money was contributed. We went as some leadership, including some of the classmates, some of the representatives who are not students, leaders. We carried some to be witnesses. So if someone is saying that the money which was collected was not used in the right way, maybe if someone don't trust my leadership, you can go ahead, or you can come to me and ask me which other students were you with, so that some investigation be done and we get the reality.
The question that most students are asking right now that where was the Diana? Because was she quite all over the government, all over the people of government. Was she not given the chance to participate?
On that, remember we were all elected by the delegates, and you people elected the delegates. So me in my leadership, I've never denied anyone a chance. Maybe if you fail to see someone anywhere, it's not on my, it's not to book who maybe suppress these people. I gave everyone had the chance to do the good things from their respective dockets.
Where was then all this time? Because all that we could see was the book in Comrades Forum, talk about the challenges, a book talk about what amendment of the Constitution. Where was your voice?
Okay, that question maybe she can be the appropriate person to answer where she was throughout. Yes, remember me, I was elected to work for the comrades, and that's what I do. And actually, if you talk about the forum, sometimes back I told you about many a times when a student leader is elected, what they normally do is to keep calm, yeah, to be under the tables, so that they even don't post, they don't talk to comrades. But that was not me. Me was all over. Even yesterday night, I posted in the student forum. For the last 1 year, I've been vocal as if I'm going to vie in the next 1 month. Yes. So me throughout, I've been active through the social media, how I used to be, and still I'll continue to be active until the last day that I'll land over power.
To the administration, how I wish you will be hearing, taking into consideration, and giving a quick act on the whatsoever grievances that shall be affecting the students presented to you by we, their leaders. May you always be of willing for a correlation between the students, the council, and the administration. Dear comrades, it is time to immunize ourselves from the diabolical marginalization and ethnical balkanization as we roll forward to rejuvenate the spirit of comradeship.
How did you find working with the administration, the Vice Chancellor, for example?
Okay. For me, it was okay, though there were some challenges in the lower division of the administration. Yes, of which some maybe I might not say here. But remember, at the same time, comrades normally believe that if you are friendly to administration, then you are dining with them. But to a point, that's not the case. For most of the grievances of the students to be looked into and be addressed, you have to be someone who has a metabane, yeah? Metabane means your mind should be able to capture both from the administration and from the students. So, yes, some accused me of dining, but it was not dining. If I could not go and have dialogue with the DVC, with the registrar, with the VC, some people I really consider have a high level of listening, to be sincere, then some of the grievances that the student wanted me to address could not be addressed. When I was getting into office, people thought of Oguk is, kama ni mbaya mbaya, kama ni strike utaenda strike. Yes, I have the spirit of collecting masses and taking people to street. I have that spirit. Yes, I can't cheat myself that I'm that holy that I cannot take people to streets. Yes, if things are negative and taking people to street is the only way of solving issues, then I know how to do it. But throughout my government, I found that the management we have currently have a listening ear, and the doors were open for dialogue, and that's why most of my achievements were able to done. And actually, the other time I told you about the academics, there are some of the things even through the dialogue with the management were able to be done. Like in entertainment, right now we have the TV rooms, and we had one TV room in the student center, then we had two in the hostel C and hostel A. Then in the MPH we had one TV. Right now we have two TVs in the MPH. We have, the rooms are fitted with fans. That is under the entertainment. Besides that, we have the sports allowances. Remember, I'm also a sport guy, and I believe we are coming to that, where they used to be paid, what they are being paid right now is much higher than what they used to be paid. They used to be paid 1,000 shillings for a day.
How much is being paid now?
Right now, they are being paid 1,500. To mean, remember, most of the sports normally take 2 days. So when a student goes out for a weekend sporting activity, he or she comes back with 3,000. It was not there. I promise students that once I get into leadership, I'll ensure this take place. But that one could not take place if I had to take the students to Chiru streets or to Kenjai streets so that we strike for it to happen. It was just going to these offices and having dialogue with them, telling them about the inflation of prices right now, telling them about the high cost of living currently. And from that, they were able to listen to us through the sports office. And right now, the students, the allowances were increased. And I'm happy about that, and the students are happy about that.
Which activity are you participating in currently in university?
The sports. In this university, I did quite a number of sporting activity. And some of them I've also participated in bringing the trophies in the sports office. Maybe if 1 or 2 days you visit the sports office, you can ask about some of the trophies that General Oguk brought in that sporting office. When I joined in first year, I played 2 games. I joined Shotokan Karate, that is the martial arts, where I went through the levels from the white belt to yellow belt and to green belt. That's where I stopped, at green belt. Remember, those belts goes up to the black belt, and after the black belt you need to have the rings. The 5th ring you are given when you die. No one sees the 5th ring. So that was the martial arts. I also participated in rollerball skating. Rollerball skating is a mixture of skating, basketball, and handball in one game. Yes. Maybe for those who want to know more about it, you can. We can link up after this. I participated in that, and in 2020, I was among the top 10 top scorers in Kenya in rollerball, representing Meru University. And if you walk along the university in one of these, maybe what can I call them? These advertising posts, you'll come across one of the posts with rollerballers. The guy holding the ball is this guy you are interviewing right now. Maybe you can go through the university and you'll come across that post.
And you want to show that picture in a few.
And besides that, I also participated in javelin. Yes, I participated in javelin. That is the field activities. Javelin, throwing the javelin, yeah. And when we had the Kusa Central Games, I was number 2 after a throw of 47.6. The number 1 351. So those are some of the activities that are part, among many others, including the indoor games like chess. I'm also a chess player, and yes, among many other games. And maybe still in entertainment, we also know about that this was the government that brought the best freshers' night ever in the history of Meru University. The freshers' night was well organized, and I took time and asked the students personally. Yes, of course, I had some some helping leaders, but I had to ask students personally. Yes, it was major, one of the best. In fact, the best that is in Kenya. So by then, so I asked students from class to class through the class rep, who do you want for this freshers' night? And they said, we want this artist. And that's how the student enjoyed that day, and the graduation square was full, was filled to capacity. And I'm also assuring the students that this remaining activity, which is the cultural night, is going to be unthinkable, unwatchable, unseenable, and the best of all cultural nights that have ever been seen.
When is the freshers' night going to be held?
The cultural night will be held in January 2023, and that will be my last activity before I hand over power.
The cultural night, which is going to be the last activity of the Hannington Oguk in Meru University, before he hands over the power to the next cabinet. So tell us, who inspires you? Or before getting to that question, tell us You are retiring from the government.
Yes.
Any retirement benefits from the school going to achieve after retiring?
Aye.
Yeah, benefits.
No. No, this is just a leadership set up within an institution. It is not like the national leadership whereby after retiring you are given some cars, you are given some pension. No.
So how much you are earning from the government?
That one maybe is undisclosed for purposes of my security and the security of those who are close to me. Yes.
When you guys want to know, when you guys are highly interested, the first thing they asked me when I was still there with their books was that tell us how much is the book earning from the government.
You know, when someone asks you how much you want, it means someone is having a problem. So if you have your problem, just approach me. I'll help you where I come. If it is lunch and I have it, what you want to know is how much, I'll give you that lunch. But maybe if your lunch is higher than what I get now, maybe we can source funds from somewhere else.
Who inspires you in politics?
I have so many mentors in politics.
Nationally?
Nationally is okay. You'll also allow me to mention others, but
Nationally.
the main person who inspires my role model is none other than Right Honorable Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga. That is one man that has been inspiring me. Why Odinga? This guy has clean records. Since I've never seen him in any scandal. In history, if you watch the history part of this guy, of this political buffalo, I've never seen him in any being tainted with any.
What are some of the steps that you followed from Bamba?
The courage, the boldness, to tell the truth, whether you will be hanged or not, and to fight for the freedom of the rights of the infringed people. Actually, fighting for the rights of the infringed people, that is number one. Though it has a disadvantage. One of the disadvantages of being a freedom fighter and fighting for people's rights is that when now you are you are between a hard surface and the rock, when your life is in the land of no return, when you are now in the desert and you need help, no one normally comes in. That now is the worst part of being a freedom fighter. Because remember, freedom fighters are also humans. They fight for the rights of other people. But now when the infringers of the world come to infringe their rights, they have no way.
Is it that they fight for other people's rights that they forget to fight for their own rights?
No. You don't fight for people's rights because they forget to fight for their rights. But maybe someone is not at a position to fight for his own right. Remember, for you to fight for someone's right, you've dedicated to yourself. Yes? And you've decided that whether good or bad, whether you will be hanged, whether you will be taken to jail, this thing has to happen the right way.
Earlier on you mentioned that leadership comes with sacrifice. So are these some of the sacrifices that one has to go through?
Sure, those are some of the sacrifices.
Okay, as we coming to an end, I can see in the comment section, one of my viewer is asking me, want to know if Oguk is married or some kind of relationship. Maybe you'll be able to answer that shortly. Oguk, kindly.
To be sincere, yes. Maybe if we refer to the Bible story, Genesis.
Oguk, the question is simple. Are you married, dating, or single and such?
Actually, that's where I'm coming from. And it's good to support it with the Bible. Yes. From the book of Genesis, you understand that
when God created Adam, later he took Adam to sleep and gave him a rib to mean a woman. So, yes, I'm in a relationship and I'm in love with someone.
Mention this person.
And yes, she loves me and I love her. Currently, I'm in a relationship. I don't know about tomorrow. And maybe I don't know about after this interview. So there, that's it.
Who is this person that not willing to disclose to us today? Who is she? Who is this person?
Maybe the nation will know her one day.
Okay.
If you see a smart man before a camera, then there might be a woman.
Behind the camera.
No, not behind the camera or behind the man. A woman might be beside the man or in front of a man. What is a woman doing behind a man? A woman is more valuable before or beside a man.
That is a question for my view. I'm going to answer that question. What is
a woman doing behind a man?
As we continue. Anything that you wish to add on as we conclude the show?
Okay, maybe besides one of my mentors, I also have other mentors. Yes, yeah, and I get from history, even though I was not a history student. You know, those who study history, people ought to think that they are the history men. But me, I'm a geographer. But I do history, political history and leadership history. From back then, from people like the Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania. We have Babu Owino of Kenya. We have people like Omar Gaddafi, the West Africa, how they used to do things. You know, those were people that, yes, people took them as negative leaders.
Omar Gaddafi has a history of very negative.
Yes, but to a point, that's why I don't have one leader in me. I have so many leaders combined together. Yes, from South Africa, we know of Nelson Mandela. Even here in Kenya, of course, there are youths that are somehow just a little bit above me. People like Fikirini Jacobs, people like Anthony Manyara, people like Babu Owino. Those are young leaders in leadership that I try to copy. I combine both the positive sides of them to give rise to General Oguk.
There's one person watching this video and he has that urge of becoming a leader. Any piece of advice to him or her?
Okay, first of all, you need to ask God for the wisdom. Ask God for the wisdom. Then once you have the wisdom, you love all other things. You love the courage, you love the discipline in you. Then again, discipline is another thing in leadership. Discipline. The word discipline, if you write it down and take letter A as number 1 and add all throughout those numbers, you'll get it is 100, to mean 100%. The word discipline. So have discipline with you. Seek wisdom from God and also be bold enough to stand for the right thing, whether or not, whether it is raining or there is sunshine. Yes, just take a bold firm. Even if you will be left alone, just say the truth. Even if you will go home with nothing, but just tell the truth. That's from there the leadership in you shall be.
What's your parting shot?
I can say is that I normally believe in one say. Life is an oscillating pendulum. At times it is low. At times the pendulum is high. Whether low or high, always ensure the pendulum is moving. When you are on your high, remember tomorrow you will be on your low. When you are on your low, pray and seek wisdom from God so that you be on your high. Treat every human with respect. The best religion on earth is humanity. Thank you.
Okay, as you conclude the show, maybe we're going to remind my viewers to watch, to subscribe, like, and share this interview with the others. Of course, there are many more interviews coming after this. Thank you so much for watching this interview. Remember, this is AUSTEEN Visuals, the channel that broadcasts to you stories of my journey. That was just a journey of one of the prominent leaders in Meru University, Hannington Oguk. You've heard the story. More stories to come. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to turn the notification bell. See you next time. Thank you.